So far done from the last video. There was a kind of a very silly mistake that I was doing. It was like I was not assigning like string is null or empty, but I was like, if string is null or empty, then we can go inside the function, but we need to make sure that if string is not null or empty, so I was not putting the not sign before. And then we need to retrieve our previous message. For example, if I click on a user A and I'm talking to the user, it's perfectly fine. But what if I'm talking to another user, a B, and I click on the B and it's going to retrieve all I'm talking to A for the first time, then I start talking to B for the first time. But when I go to A, how can I get my previous messages that I'm talking to that I have in the chat data? In order to retrieve that messages, we are just creating this function that is get chat messages. In this message, if you already have talked to the user, it's gonna fetch those messages and display in our display chat text. So what we're gonna do, the criteria almost the same over here. We have to iterate through our chat data. For example, the name on which we are going to click, we're gonna check that if the name that we are clicking, we have talked to that user before, if it exists already. If the user we have talked to before, then we need to get all the message in the display chat, so we can say that that's the not a new user, we have talked to that user before, right? We can retrieve our previous messages. So we're just doing it on the basis of name. The first message is called display chat. As if, for example, it must be clear and then it pop up with the new messenger. Okay, so that for example, if you're talking to A and then you come to another user and then the message of A is already there and it creates the message of B on the top of the A messages, so it's gonna be a kind of a bad thing. So we need to clear a display chat first, and then we need to put the messages for the other user. I create my private chat manager a singleton object because I need to get the reference inside the messenger instance. The reason I'm getting the, when I click on messenger instance button, it's at the name of the user in the top part of my private chat, so it's gonna be responsible. For example, if you have talked to the user before, then please display all the previous messages for the user that I've talked to. So let's try to take a build. Okay, there were instances running that way, the build was not successful. And it's time to test our build with entering names. If alpha, beta, I'm alpha, and let's see what alpha, beta is sending message to whom? I'm alpha and I'm sending message to beta. Hi beta, how are you? Okay. Beta is not there. Okay, so alpha received the message, beta is sending message to alpha. No. There is something that is Okay, I'm beta and I'm sending message. I'm beta and I'm sending message to alpha, and now alpha must open beta. Look, okay, it's fine now. Basically, we have two. I have an instance for myself also. That's why it's a bit confusing. We can even remove ourselves from here, and we can do some extra stuff with that so that it becomes less confusing. It just display the name of those users that are online instead of ourselves. And it's also displaying our previous messages. As you can see, if I go to talk to myself and then I came back over here to the beta, it's displaying the messages. So it's working.